flight of the chicken. Why don't chickens fly like eagles? Imagine this. The longest flight a chicken has ever made lasted only 13 seconds. Although chickens have wings, they aren't designed for long flights. Unlike eagles and other birds, chickens can only take short hops and fly a few meters by flapping their wings. This feature is due to their anatomy. Their bodies are too heavy and their wing muscles are not developed enough for sustained flight. However, in rare cases, chickens can cover significant distances, but this is the exception rather than the rule. So next time you see a chicken, remember, it may be a bird, but it's far from being an aerial creature. What if I told you that a blink lasts only 3/10 of a second? Blinking is one of the fastest reactions of our body, and each one takes about 3/10 of a second. But despite its speed, blinking serves an important function. It moistens our eyes, protects them from dust, and even gives the brain a moment to rest. Throughout the day, we blink around 20,000 times without even noticing it. So the next time you blink, remember, your body is working like a true biological machine, taking care of you every second. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city, and these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Did you know that platypuses are venomous? This cute and mysterious animal from Australia has a real weapon hidden in its legs. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs, which they use to inject toxins into their enemies or competitors during mating battles. While the venom is not deadly to humans, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts for months. Who would have thought that these seemingly harmless animals could be so dangerous? Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Can you imagine that on Mercury, the year is shorter than the day? On Mercury, the closest planet to the sun, time works in a completely different way than on Earth. It takes only 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete a full orbit around the sun, but one full rotation on its axis takes 176 Earth days. This means that on Mercury, one day lasts twice as long as a year. Can you imagine living on a planet where morning and evening are separated by months? This astonishing fact makes Mercury one of the most peculiar planets in our solar system. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Octopuses lay eggs like chickens. Octopuses are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs like many other animals. A female octopus can lay thousands of tiny eggs and guards them diligently until they hatch. During this period, she does not eat and devotes all her energy to protecting her offspring. After the eggs hatch, the mother octopus often dies from exhaustion. This self-sacrificing parenting instinct makes octopuses remarkable creatures, willing to give everything for the next generation. There is a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Can you believe Scotland's national animal is a unicorn? Yes, it's true. Scotland has chosen the unicorn, a mythical creature, as its national animal. This magical beast, symbolizing purity and strength, has held a special place in Scottish culture and symbolism for centuries. The unicorn became a national symbol in the Middle Ages and still adorns coats of arms and flags today. As a national emblem, the unicorn represents Scotland's proud, independent, and slightly mystical spirit. Every cat has a unique nose print. Just like humans have unique fingerprints, cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So, if you have a furry, purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. An endless chocolate bar? Illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars, but wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely, and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that, one twin born at the end of 1 year and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. How did the term honeymoon originate, and what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. What if I told you the largest family in the world has more than 180 members? In India, the world's largest family, led by Ziona Chana, consists of 39 wives, 94 children, 14 daughters-in-law, and 33 grandchildren. They all live together in a 4-story house with 100 rooms and a shared kitchen. This family belongs to a Christian sect that allows polygamy, and despite their large size, they live harmoniously under one roof. This incredible family is truly a dynasty that amazes and inspires people around the world. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins's personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clock we now wrestle with every morning. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day, and even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. It turns out that icebergs have colorful stripes. Depending on the composition and conditions of formation, icebergs can be striped in green, blue, yellow, or even black. Green stripes are formed due to algae, blue due to dense ice, and yellow and brown due to iron presence. These colorful stripes are only visible in bright sunlight, making them even more mysterious and rare natural phenomena. What does a sunset on Mars look like? You'll be amazed. Imagine watching a sunset on Mars where the sky doesn't turn red like it does on Earth, but blue. This unique phenomenon happens because of how the thin Martian atmosphere scatters sunlight. Unlike Earth's thick atmosphere that gives us those fiery reds and oranges, the Martian atmosphere bends light in a way that turns the sky into a stunning shade of blue. It's a cosmic anomaly that makes Mars feel like its own special planet. The next time you watch a sunset here on Earth, think about how it must be on Mars. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's. Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think, it just chooses not to show it. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Black panthers, a sleek coat, not a species. The term black panther doesn't refer to a separate species of animals. It's actually a name for leopards or jaguars with a rare coloration. Melanism. Melanism is an excess of dark pigment that makes their fur appear nearly black, creating a sleek and mysterious look. For example, about 11% of all leopards have this striking coloration, turning them into real shadows of the jungle. This genetic phenomenon not only helps the panther blend into the dark forest, but also gives it a legendary status among big cats. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Can you imagine that fungi are closer to animals than plants? Believe it or not, fungi share a common ancestor with animals, dating back more than 1 billion years. Unlike plants, fungi are heterotrophs, which means they can't produce their own food through photosynthesis. Instead, they absorb nutrients from organic matter just like animals. This makes fungi a unique form of life, existing somewhere between the plant and animal kingdoms. Fungi are nature's recyclers, breaking down dead matter and returning nutrients to the ecosystem. Fold a piece of paper 42 times, and you'll reach the moon. Imagine this. If you could fold a piece of paper 42 times, it would become so thick that it could reach the moon. This incredible concept is tied to the exponential increase in the paper's thickness with each fold. Of course, in reality, it's almost impossible to fold a piece of paper more than 7 or 8 times due to its physical structure, but theoretically it would work. This fun fact shows just how fascinating mathematics can be and how difficult it is for physical objects to adhere to such theoretical rules. Try it yourself and see how many times you can fold a piece of paper. It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. Can you imagine that it rains diamonds on Neptune? It sounds like science fiction, but scientists are convinced that Neptune experiences diamond rain. Due to the immense pressure and extreme temperatures, methane in Neptune's atmosphere transforms into diamonds that literally fall from the sky. Imagine a world where precious jewels are as common as raindrops, a luxurious storm that any jeweler would dream of witnessing. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Can cockroaches survive a nuclear explosion? Cockroaches have long earned a reputation as super survivors, capable of withstanding even the most extreme conditions, including high levels of radiation. But is it true that they can survive a nuclear explosion? In reality, cockroaches can indeed survive radiation exposure, but there are creatures far better adapted to this, like certain types of fungi and microbes. Nevertheless, cockroaches remain a symbol of resilience, able to survive conditions that would kill most other living creatures. Why do flamingos stand on one leg? Flamingos can stand on one leg for hours, and while it may seem strange, there's a scientific reason. By tucking one leg under their bodies, flamingos conserve energy and retain body heat. This position also reduces muscle fatigue. Scientists even found out that flamingos can sleep standing on one leg without losing balance. Can you imagine being able to stand on one leg for hours? These birds are true masters of balance and relaxation. Did you know that in France, there's a house with a negative number? In the town of Rocamadour, France, you can find a house numbered -1. This building was constructed under a cliff below street level. When the other houses were numbered, the ground level houses were already given 0 and 1. This unusual designation has now become a local landmark and a curiosity for tourists. After all, it's not every day you see a house with a negative number. It's hard to believe, but it rains diamonds on Saturn. Researchers believe that lightning storms in Saturn's atmosphere turn methane into carbon, which then crystallizes into diamonds. These diamond drops can reach several centimeters in size, and as they fall from great heights, turn into graphite. Thus, on Saturn, you can witness a rain of precious stones. At such depths and under high pressure, they turn back into carbon, but the very idea of this phenomenon is breathtaking. Did you know the pyramids of Giza were originally brightly colored? When we think of the Egyptian pyramids, we imagine grand but plain stone structures. However, in ancient times, they looked completely different. The pyramids were once covered in smooth white limestone, which made them shine in the sunlight, giving them a dazzling appearance. Additionally, the top of the pyramids, called pyramidions, were often made of gold or coated with gold, creating a sparkling peak. Imagine how bright and magnificent these structures must have looked in the desert several thousand years ago. Over time, the outer layers of the pyramids deteriorated, leaving only the stone cores we see today. Imagine for a moment. Frogs can freeze, but not die. Have you ever wondered how nature copes with winter's cold? Some species of frogs have found an incredible way to survive the winter. They literally freeze, but don't die. Their bodies produce a special antifreeze that prevents ice from damaging their cells. As soon as the temperature rises, these frogs simply thaw out and go on living as if nothing happened. This amazing mechanism is yet another testament to nature's incredible adaptation to harsh conditions. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Believe it or not, colorblind people live full, vibrant lives. Color blindness is a condition where some people have difficulty distinguishing certain colors, with red and green being the most common. However, people with color blindness have adapted by using patterns, memory, and modern technology, such as color filters for screens and specialized glasses. These innovations help colorblind individuals lead full lives and express themselves uniquely. Despite the challenges, colorblind people overcome these obstacles with resilience and creativity, proving that life is as vibrant as they make it. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. Believe it or not, octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. Octopuses aren't just extraordinarily smart, they are also built in incredibly unique ways. They have 3 hearts that pump blue blood and 9 brains, 1 central brain and 8 mini brains in each tentacle. These mini brains allow each tentacle to move independently, almost as if they have their own will. Octopuses are so unique that scientists consider them one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat on a 6-day journey from South Africa. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean, 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine, the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built. Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quiricura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon, but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Why is Mauna Kea volcano 10 times taller than Everest? Mauna Kea on Hawaii is not just a volcano, but a towering structure that extends deep below the ocean's surface. Its above water section is over 4,000 meters tall, but its underwater slopes stretch even further. Taking the full height of Mauna Kea from base to summit, it measures over 10,000 meters, making it far taller than Everest. Though its peak is hidden underwater, Mauna Kea is one of the tallest mountains on Earth. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders, and revolutions. Laser, Did you know that the word is an acronym? We're all familiar with the word laser, but did you know that it's actually an acronym? Laser stands for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. This describes a complex process in which energy is focused to create a powerful beam of light. Lasers are used in a wide range of fields, from medicine to scientific research and entertainment. They have become an integral part of modern technology, yet few people realize that the word laser itself is a technical term that hides an amazing process, one that has made the world even more technological.